And whoa. And welcome to the Evidence Reasons Academy. I'm Salvador Cordova. On this Saturday morning, I didn't sleep well, just as well because I have in 3 hours I will be meeting with Dr. Philip Dennis. I call him Dr. Phil number 2. I hope to have him on this channel at some point. I have totally, as I've been looking at my general relativity books, I have totally forgotten everything, and I'm having to reconstruct. Now the good news is I got an A in the class, and so I think I can relearn this. Unlike a lot of fields in physics, there is stuff in general relativity. You know, most of physics has kind of a classical Newtonian feel to it. In fact, even in quantum mechanics, like the Schrödinger equation, that Hamiltonian operator, a Hamiltonian operator is a classical mechanics construction, and it is put right there in Schrödinger's equation. So, the idea of force and energy, even very classical basic things like velocity, time, etc. are classical. Now, I personally think that relativity can be framed in more classical terms. If we say time is absolute, like it demands in quantum mechanics, and then say clocks are variable, then everything starts to look a lot nicer. That was heretical to say maybe 40 years ago, but now it's customary for people to say general relativity can't be quite right. I would say that for most physicists, if they had to say what theory takes precedence, is it quantum mechanics or general relativity, almost all will say quantum mechanics. So that's just a little bit here. Oh, let me say hi to Chilo. Greetings, Chilo. Dios le bendiga. Dios le bendiga, Chilo. God bless you. This is going to be a nerd torture session. This is just math. There is one non-math thing here. I'm just a little bit disturbed with something Elon Musk did. I'm going to share it with you. I don't know how it was late at night and I was just surfing the internet. Elon Musk fires senior Twitter employee who slept in office to meet deadlines. I mean, so she doesn't have a job now. Look at this dedication. She's on the office floor and she's working 24 hours a day or trying to, and then just sleeping and eating in the office, trying to meet her deadlines. And look at that happy, beautiful face. So, as a public service, her name is Esther Crawford. I would just say if anyone is looking to hire someone who's a dedicated employee, she would be a good one to hire. I mean, this is terrible. Okay, Twitter CEO Elon Musk has laid off around 50 employees during the weekend, including one of his most vocal supporters, a supporter, Esther Crawford. The firing of Crawford was shocking for many as she openly supported Musk and his chaotic policies for social media company. Crawford was the famous employee whose picture went viral on social media, in which she can be seen sleeping on the floor of the Twitter office to fulfill deadlines, and Musk fired her. So guys, I'm just suggesting if you need an employee out there and you can afford Ms. Crawford, there's my public service. That just seems just like so wrong. Yeah, evil Musk. So let me see if I have to try to kill a window here. See, it just won't die. All these blasted advertisements. Okay. So Schnoil here has You know, Chilo seems like such a nice, happy person. I think I'm going to promote Chilo to be a standard moderator. So, congratulations, Chilo. You're now a moderator. Okay, so let me see. I have this nerd dumpster fire, and there is a comment from Schnoil on this. Let me just stop this brief. Stop. Okay. And he says, hopefully this helps. You can do comments with percent signs. So I'm going to bring up the overleaf, and we're going to just try to just blast through this. So I'm going to say overleaf. Overleaf. And I bet I'm hearing my cell phone go crazy. And that is my illustrious co-host, Rebecca Davis. I'm going to tell her I'm live now. I'm live now. And I'll put a smiley face. So, let's see. There's this project called Test. Holy smokes, how did I get this thing going? Alright, I'll make another one. See if I can make another. How about junk? I have all these other. Okay, junk is there. Oh, I don't even know how to navigate all the files and see what Rebecca had to say. Oh boy. Okay, so I'm going to look at what Schnoil gave me. He said, hope this helps. So I'm just gonna just obliterate this here. So let me see if I could just obliterate, and then I'll recompile. I should get a blank. Oh, it didn't like that. I would think it could compile a blank document. That's just terrible. Okay, so let's try to get what Schnoil suggested here. And this is risky. Now recompile. Oh. Okay, let's do rich text. So it needs some extra stuff. So it doesn't render as PDF. So hide PDF. Okay, so this is a little better. You can do comments with stars. First, put all the use package resize to other use package commands. Huge test. Huge doesn't work, but not... Huge does work, but not in math mode. There are two different math modes. If you want an equation to be in a text, you use dollar sign, dollar sign. If you want it to stand alone, bigger and aligned, you use backslash and then backslash, e.g. here are math modes. The equation a plus b equals c holds. The equation under the following assumption. Let's try to increase font size. Okay, so huge does work, but not in math mode. Ah, the mystery. So he said I need a /use package X color. So put use package to the other. So let me try doing that. Rel size, okay. And huge test. What did I do? Oops, let me try this. This should be at the top. My mistake. Now try. Oh well. Stoil, I'm gonna get Jonathan Bartlett to come on the channel, and we'll try to work through the overleaf stuff. I don't have time for it today, but you gave me some insight. Just the fact you said there are math modes, and huge does work, but not in math mode. See, this is what there are nice things about Microsoft Word, where I can have these beautiful Word documents and all the nice things with Word, but then I can put in equations, sort of, but then that blasted Microsoft Word will just do an autocorrect on my equations, and it's an auto. It's not really an autocorrect. It's an auto destruct. It goes into auto destruct and just rewrites my equations. I'm just like, what kind of goofball put that in there that it's gonna do an auto destruct on stuff I write? I mean, it's not that hard to keep an algorithm that whatever the author types, it keeps and doesn't rewrite it. It'll just like compile it into Latex and then reverse compile it into whatever it wants. It's just awful. So I don't know what's going on, but I have to. Okay, so what was on the docket? I have to do something else. Okay, so I'm going to kill the overleaf thing here. And Schnoil, thank you for the information. I've learned something, and I'm just going to have to slug it out with overleaf. I don't need it immediately for today. So today is SpaceTime diagrams. You just need document class use package graphics. Oh man. Let me put that in the comment section. You know, it's funny, I can't actually put it in the comment section right now. That's really cool. You learn how to do this. I presume that was because you were that was part of your yeah. You could put it in the comment section of another video. See, apparently when it's live, it doesn't put comments or something like that. I'm sorry about that. I can't control that. But, Schnoil, you must have learned all that when you're in your engineering program. And, wow. There's so much I need to learn just to operate the software. All these things to learn. There's Mathematica, there's Maple, and then there's software languages. Then we have all these text editors. Oh my goodness. You know, publishing in math is hard because you have all these specialized symbols. Oh boy. Okay, so I'm just gonna have to move on because I have to prepare for Schnoor says we work with overleaf latex the whole time. Oh boy, okay, because you seem very versant in it. So he does work. You do work with overleaf. Oh my goodness, that's that's fabulous. I'm envious. I'm envious. So, going back to Bondi here, this is something I need to work with, but I also need to let me upload something here on relativity, and there is a particular diagram I need to get. I hope I have it. Yes, it is that one. So I'm going to upload it. And you'll see what I'm trying to do. So it's this diagram. And I'm just going to kind of cut it out. Let me zoom out. And this is from Bondi's book. I really would like to recapitulate this diagram somewhere. And relativity. Okay, so let me zoom in. And now I'm going to do a reading here. Turn on the light so I can see. And there's Bondi's book. So you can see it has Alfred. I have the book here, and that's page 78. And this is actually a little complicated. So okay, so I'm going to go to page 80 or so. 80, page 80. The relation between any two of our inertial observers is completely specified by the ratio of the interval of reception and the interval of transmission. This is where it's going to be agonizing to really get a grasp of this, even though this is just like three Oh, Schnoll said, by the way, if you want to create a paper, there are templates for that from Springer Nature. Wow. Okay. Schnoll, if you ever want to come on my channel, you're welcome to. We could do overleaf together sometime. I mean, you don't have to show your face or anything. You know, you can join StreamYard without a camera. You'll need a microphone. But thank you. So there is another diagram that is of interest. Let me show that. This is going to be an interest. This is the other diagram I need. Let's see if I could get it. This one, the one with the flying saucers. So, let me see. I'm going to develop a. Let me get this diagram here. Let me make a new. File. No, I want new. Oh man, my computer's really bogging down right now. So I want new, blank presentation. New slide, blank. Okay, so, and then I'll put my favorite worm diagram here. This is my delight right here. This makes me so happy because I worked so hard to make this, and it wasn't just the math, it was all the aggravation with Microsoft Latex. Okay, so and I am going to rename a file. Where's that? This is the spaceship diagram. Hang on. Spaceship. So let me insert picture, get the spaceship diagram. Spaceship diagram. Okay, so we have several scenarios, and it's this one. If this is of interest, Alfred transmits. Okay, so I'm going to go to the book here again, page 80. The relation between any two of our inertial observers is completely specified by the ratio of the interval of reception to the interval of transmission. Oh boy, this is what's so hard about doing physics with just in plain ordinary language. If Alfred has flashed his light at intervals h, then he would have seen these flashes at interval h. Then David would see it. Okay, each flash is taking, okay, so interval of transmission, interval of reception. So going back to the space-time diagram, let's see. Let Let me make another one. Boy, I'm preparing. I'm gonna be seeing a professional physicist in 3 hours, and I'm just struggling through this. Okay, this is the ladder diagram. All right, so Alfred's interval of transmission. Okay, so I'm going to just say it. Alfred's interval of transmission. And then I'll color this later. Alfred. I'll make Alfred red. Six minutes. Okay, so I'll make that red just for my accounting purposes. And this will be like that. I need to get it the right colors though. Red. Give it a little more weight. So that's Alfred's interval of transmission up at that 6 minutes. Brian's interval, Alfred, interval of transmission, 6 minutes in Alfred time. And then Brian is green. I'm just going to make Brian green. So I'm going to put Alfred down here actually. This will be better. Alfred. Paste. Paste. And this is going to be, what's his name is Brian. Brian. Okay, I can improve this diagram. Let me move this kind of in to the center, and I'll move this to the side. At least I'm going to show Dr. Phil that I'm actually exerting effort to try to work through the book. And this actually helps me when I do this diagramming it out. Then we have Brian. Thanks, Schnoil. He said you changed your comment so that it contains the whole file. I initially thought you would just put the stuff I wrote as a new section in your document. Not that you delete everything first. Sorry. Okay, this is really funny, Schnoil. I kind of know Latex only for math symbols. I didn't know how to do it with text. So when I was in Microsoft Word, I just used Microsoft Word for all the narrative and all the text, and then I would go into math mode. There's a kind of quasi latex mode that doesn't really work well in Microsoft Word. Now, I didn't know latex could actually also have a text mode and a math mode. So Microsoft Word is more powerful in some sense for just raw documents, but the way it handles math is when it got as complex as what I was doing with the Lorentz transformations and all the second order partial derivatives, it was just miserable. So I'm sorry, I think I've been totally messing this up in the meantime. So this is what I was doing here, and if I do have time I'll get back to that. Otherwise I'll have to do the overleaf stuff in another show, because I'm running out of time to work with to prepare to meet Dr. Dennis. So this is going to turn into green. Brian's interval of transmission. But since you worked so much effort, I tell you what, let's take a break and look at Schnoil. He certainly is deserving of me trying to do this, since he took the trouble to write the comments. So I'll go overleaf, and we'll go. See, I don't know why the project is called test and then it has all these files. Still haven't figured. So there are files and projects? Okay. Oh, Bread of Life is here. Oh my goodness, this is scary, guys. People nerding out on a Saturday morning? This is scary. Hello. Nerd time on Saturday morning. Yikes. That's like nerd time on Friday night. It's so... So, let's see. Schnoil was giving me this. I'm going to go into the source mode, and now I'm going to delete all this. And then I'm going to grab his comment. Let's see. So what I need to do is go here. So thanks for dropping in. And then Schnoil had a comment. He's going to do this. Oh my goodness, Schnoil. Look at that. This is scary. This is nerd talk right here. This is so awesome. So I'll put it here. And let's do a rich text view. Whoa! You always write inside the document. You import packages before that. Okay, so I'm going to switch to PDF. Let's go to the mode, editor, and PDF. And now let's do a recompile. And oh, Dr. Cordova, thank you. I'm not quite there yet. Oh, this is so... Oh, man, look at that. Oh, that is so beautiful. Look what Schnoil gave me. Schnoil, you the man. That is so awesome. Awesome. Oh, look at that. Oh, man. You've given me the holy grail of latex. Look at that. I was trying to figure out how to to write documents that are in Microsoft Word are really hard to do if you have math in it. And I'm going to be submitting I'm going to be developing a paper that we're going to hopefully submit to some publishers in peer-reviewed journals as educational. And I'm trying to convey this equation here that has all the coloring. That kind of makes it easier to actually read. And this was like 3 days of work, 2 days of work just trying to get it written, because Microsoft Word was just auto-destructing whatever I typed. And you know, like an autocorrect will replace stuff. You know, it'll change the spelling or whatever, just like in your smartphone when you're texting. And that was really obnoxious, and I had to work around that. Every time I type something, it would auto-destruct it, thinking it's auto-correcting. And I wasted 2 days of my life fighting that. So and then I needed to be able to size the fonts and everything so I could submit this to a publisher who'll pretty it up even more, but it needs to be in a format that they could work with. And so I will tell you, having submitted peer-reviewed articles, half the work for the poor grunt is to just get it formatted for submission in all of their, the way they wanted, the publisher wants it. And, that's understandable, but, oh, I know, it's the typesetter. The typesetters are so finicky about everything, and then if your editor can't support the way the typesetter wants it, it's agony. And Schnoll said this is going to be a long worm and overleaf. Okay, if you want to see just how, oh my goodness, this is agony. It is kind of scary. I'm starting to think. Let me show the viewers this. When I start to think in latex, that's scary. When I can do math in math symbols, but when I do math in both math symbols and then in latex, I'm like, Sal, you're gonna go insane. So let me just show what I mean here. All right, so let me just show what I mean here. You see this equation here? This is the way you would write it in math class with paper and pencil. But when you want to put it in a mode that the publisher can read, you have to write it like that. And Stoyle was just pointing out, so let me undo this, that this equation here, what we call the long worm, Johnny B said, well, you can hire someone to do this for 2 days. I said, I don't have the money to do that. I can do it myself and save myself some money. So this equation here, the long worm, this is, oh my goodness, this is scary. See, even Microsoft, this is so obnoxious, even Microsoft Word is kind of croaking, even as I try to expand it. I have to write in this language. I mean, this is how I have to think when I'm writing equations. I mean, it's hard enough to do it in the math, but I have to write this equation in LaTeX. And Schnoil just pointed out, see, Microsoft is really nice. As you can see, Schnoil, that you have all these colors here, and I can just go in Microsoft and just say change the font color. So that's kind of the one nice thing, is I could change the colors. The problem is now in the actual overleaf system, I'm going to have to put even more coding in here. This is going to be miserable. Can you imagine trying to clean this up? And so this is going to be, this is a project that is very near and dear to my heart because it pertains to really understanding relativity and electromagnetism. So there's a side of this that's just purely intellectual, but then there's a side of this where I have to do all this computer coding, kind of, in this LaTeX language to be able to communicate it. And so when I type all this up, it's going to reduce to this. And all those nice look at all those nice Christmassy colors. Isn't that beautiful? This is like, to me, I look at this is a work of art and a labor of love. So just briefly, this is the D'Alembert from electromagnetic theory. We do second order partial derivatives with a chain rule here, and we just grind away. This is beautiful. This is special relativity. Okay, so back to what I was trying to work with. Schnoil, God bless you, sir. Oh, man. So now we're going back to the space-time diagrams. And we're going to make an arrow here to Brian. And I need to change the color. Then the weight, make it nice and big. That's not the right color. Try this shade of green. There. And let me duplicate this. So hopefully Dr. Dennis will at least be impressed with the effort I put forward, and he might be more willing to work with me, and we might even publish together. Wouldn't that be cool? So we can make educational materials and then compete in the creationist community in Alfred's clock rate. Then, so that's interval of, what was the word? Schnoil, thank you very much. I'm going to be able to submit this. I'm going to get in a small peer-reviewed journal. The editor already said all I have to do is get this formatted, and it's almost ready for submission. I might even request if Dr. Phil will be a co-author. So it says here the interval of reception and the interval of transmission. So this is an interval of reception. So all reception, and we'll do this. And this is transmission. But he also transmits at 9 intervals. It's 9 minutes. In Alfred's clock rate, and his interval of transmission is also not, and it's and transmission. Oh wait, the clock pulses are in white, so I'm going to just color it yellow. That would be a better color. So he's going to get these in yellow because he's firing off his oh, there's a better term for that. I'm sorry. I was remiss here. Apologies. He's firing off his candle or torch, or what do we call it? There's something that we call a very intense light. There's a term for an intense light. It's like a beacon, but I forgot the term. So Alfred's interval of transmission, 6-minute clock rate. Brian's interval of reception. So he's receiving it in, okay, I'm going to color this red. So we'll kind of use the ones in Bondi's book. I'm going to color this red. And then Brian's interval of transmission is also 9 minutes. So this is also transmission. And I'm going to color that red. I'm trying to get the color coding more intuitive. So that's flash. So I'm going to make that red. This one is receiving yellow and transmitting red, so it's gonna receive yellow and transmit red. Oops, what's going on? Receive yellow, transmit red. So he's going to receive yellow. I'm going to make that black. Let's see. So reception will be the color received. Transmission, Brian is going to transmit. Okay, I'm making a mess of this. I need a color to say, needs to be a background. I'll make it green. Oh, this is going to be so ugly. I have to figure this, the color coding's going to be funny. So Brian is the native color. Alfred will be, what color should I make Alfred? I'll make Alfred white. So Alfred is white, Brian is green, David will be blue. And well, just so I could do this on white paper, I'll make Alfred gray. That's a nice English E color. And the interval of reception, Brian will be green, so I'll make this green. And the reception will be yellow. He'll receive a yellow signal. Oh, this is painful to look at. We'll fix the colors later. So Alfred is gray. So my convention is Alfred will be a little gray box here. Fill. I'll just pick that shade of gray. And I'm sorry, when I hear the word gray, I think of that book, 50 Shades of Grey. I never read it, but some of these women were talking about it. I just wanted to blush. I didn't open the book. Oh boy. Yes, Schnoil says, I've seen a paper by Dr. Dennis in Proceedings of the ICC before you first mentioned him on this channel, and I was impressed of how good it looked in comparison to some of the other creationist literature. Will the conversation with Dr. Dennis be public or private? I'm going to lobby that it become public. He has agreed to come on this channel. Dr. Dennis has published in the Physical Review Letters 3 times on quantum mechanics and general relativity. That means he's a respected secular scientist. You don't get in that venue unless you're good. And NASA has consulted him on general relativity. That's how good he is, that NASA would consult Dr. Dennis for general relativity. So this is a real privilege that he took an interest in me. He was very kind and very gentlemanly when I met him at ICC 2018. And I sent him some letters, and I said, I'm concerned that I think what Jason Lyle is saying is bad physics. And he agrees. And that's kind of how we developed a friendship and a kind of mentor-student relationship. And I tell you what's a little scary. There are probably less than 10 creationists that young Earth creationists have had on the planet that have studied general relativity. And I know all of them personally. That would be someone who's unnamed, who's a mathematical physicist, and then another one also. That's 2. John Gideon Hartnett, Russell Humphreys, Philip Dennis, and sort of me. That's not a lot of guys. So, now, I mean, it's been hard because I'm a friend of Russell Humphreys too. I don't agree with his general relativity views as far as starlight and time, but Russell Humphreys has been on this channel as we've discussed Cowling's theorem. And so, I'm slowly transitioning out of biology. I have about 5 years of biology work before I'm maybe completely done with that. As far as research work, because creationist, now with James Tour entering the fray, as far as abiogenesis, the creationists are going to just kill that field. We will not have any opposition that's credible, except for the fact, kind of the abiogenesis propaganda, but on scientific terms, we're going to obliterate that. So there's no need for me to be involved in that. I kind of helped lay out some of the stuff with protein evolution, genetic entropy, eukaryotic evolution as far as popularizing it, but my services, we're going to have so many creationists and ID proponents who will be very good at defending the biology case, because we're actually going to have engineers weigh in on that. So when you've seen my biology stuff, it's actually from an engineer's perspective. I've been invited to speak at a Discovery Institute event, which is very prestigious for me. There'll be world-class scientists in the audience when I speak. I think this is going to be awesome. And that'll be in June. It's an invitation-only event. But hopefully, whatever I say in the conference, I'm going to recapitulate here. So I'm deciding to move into physics. So thank you for your interest, Schnoil. God bless you. Yeah, we're getting some really good quality now in the fields. And I may report there are... Mark Armitage has published in Oxford University. So this is getting to be a really big deal now. Let's see, Alfred Brian will be I'll represent Brian by a green. Let's see, green. I need shape fill of green. I think that's an easier green to see. Let's see. Yeah, there's a ton of stuff happening. I can't even keep track. The interesting thing is Randy Galuza, the president of ICR, who on my last trip I met Dr. Randy in person, and he summoned me to his office. I was just visiting Jake Hebert at ICR, and in the process, Randy heard I was coming. Dr. Galuza, heard I was coming, and he summoned me into his office, and we spoke for 2 hours. And Randy Galuza will be joining the engineering, will participate in this Discovery Institute event, hopefully. He has participated in other engineering group events. Marcos Eberlin, who is a world-renowned chemist, really up there with James Tour. Marcos Eberlin has been the PhD teacher, mentor, thesis advisor for 200 PhDs. 200. He has trained, he was the supervisor, the boss of these 200 PhDs in Brazil. He's good. Oh my goodness, he's good. You talk about, he's probably the most distinguished scientist in Brazil, and he's one of the most distinguished scientists in the world. He will be at the ERG meeting. And I got talked into making presentations there. But this is I'm kind of in, kind of the final stretch of my participation in biology, just because I feel my skills are needed in the areas of physics. And so for those of you who enjoyed the Big Bang debate, that's kind of portends of things to come as far as my involvement in creationism. And Dr. Dennis is the right guy to be hanging around because he's an outstanding secular scientist, and he's an outstanding creationist scientist. So I'll make David blue. If I can get the color coding right. So Alfred is gray, Brian is green, David will be a blue. Let's see. That's such a happy shade of blue. Oh man, didn't want to do that. Brian is supposed to be green. Olive green and no outline. I'm going to do this no outline. Copy. And we'll make David blue. We'll give David a nice happy blue color. So Alfred, Brian, and David, and the light flash colors, so Brian is going to flash in red and Alfred will flash in yellow. So I'm going to make some circles. So do a shape, a circle. So Alfred will flash his in yellow. And Brian will flash his in red. This is really helpful for me as I go through this because I can actually, oops, I didn't mean to do that. Let's do shape fill with red. So Brian receives in green, he flashes out in red. Whoa! Someone. That was Dr. Sandy Pigeon. Okay, so I should color this in gray then. Being persnickety about colors, but I am trying to get this convey. See this whole thing about color schemes. Just to kind of clarify. You could tell I really like colors. Richard Feynman actually did physics, and he could actually conceptualize ideas and numbers and colors. He suffered from synesthesia, but do you really call it suffering? He was gifted with it. He could conceptualize numbers and colors, and I encourage trying to think of things in terms of colors because you could see things. And I need to kind of change the color of this to see if I can change the color. Oh, that's ugly. Oh my goodness, that's ugly. Oh boy. I'm trying to make it better. How did I get this to get this nice color? I like this color. Color, copy, paste. Brian's interval of transmission. We have seen some good quotes from Feynman in my quantum computing course. That is awesome. See, this is one thing that gives me a lot of joy on this channel. I get to meet other students of science, and they're studying cool stuff like quantum computing. And we have Mr. Jetty, who works on a particle accelerator, and Ben Rex, who's a photonics student. And we have Emery, who's he's going to be, God willing, a biology PhD. We've got a great crew here, guys. And then last but not least, we have Rebecca, who's just overall talented. Interval of transmission. Interval of transmission. So I'm going to make that. I can get rid of this. And he's going to transmit in red. So he's going to transmit in red. And then David is going to receive it. So let me copy this. So this is David, and David's color is blue. It's this happy blue color, and he's receiving the text, the flash in red. So Brian sends out red, David sees red, and David also sees yellow. And that's an interval of reception. Reception. And this is reception. Reception. 6 minutes in Alfred's clock rate. Okay, so we have, he's going to see the yellow. He's going to see two things. This is kind of painful colors to look at, but David receives the yellow flash as well as the red flash. And let me give some shapes here. Man, my phone's just dinging crazy. Yeah, that's Dr. Pigeon. We've seen some good quotes. Okay, let me see a Feynman quote. Was it Feynman who said if you don't misunderstand quantum mechanics, you don't really understand it, or was that Dirac? Okay, so oops. Feynman said, "Shut up and compute." Man, I'm jealous you get to do. I think I can safely say nobody understands quantum mechanics, so do not take the lecture too seriously. Feeling that you have really understood, feeling that you really have to understand in terms of some model what I'm going to describe, but just relax and enjoy it. Got it. Oh, thank you. Relax and enjoy it. Okay, so this color. See, this is how I have to work. When I do this exercise here, even for my own benefit, I understand what the physicists are saying in words, because otherwise it's just going to get miserably confusing. How about I move this down a little bit? So this is, oops. So this is David, and I'll copy. And I'll copy. What happened? I want to paste. Paste. Nope. Wrong. Someone's really dinging me. Okay. So kind of to help the diagram a bit, we have these pictures here. I'm going to get the spaceship. That'll be bright. Okay, space station. So let me get this here, and I'm going to cut out some pieces. Open. And at least, hopefully, Dr. Dennis will appreciate the effort. QM describes nature as absurd from the point of view of common sense, and yet it fully agrees with experiment. So I hope you can accept nature as she is. Absurd. Bravo! Bravo, bravo! Glorious. That's glorious. That's the best one so far. So this is space station here. I'm going to copy this out. And that was awesome, Schnoil. Quantum mechanics describes nature as absurd. Okay, so actually let me clean up this diagram a little bit so I can see the space. Ooh, yikes. Undo. I'll get a piece of this, copy and paste, and I can clear that up. And I'll paste, and then I can clear this up here. And I'll say this is space station. Hang on. Relativity, space station. Okay, so I just made a space station here. Let me get this space station. I'm making a space station. All right. So now let's go here to my diagram. And I'm going to insert the space station icon. Where are you? There. There's my space station icon. Oh man. So that's the space station, and this is going to be, I need to make one for the rocket ship. All right, so the rocket ship. So I'm going to grab the rocket ship now. I'm going to get the rocket ship. And a copy. And we'll do the rocket ship. So let's clean the rocket ship up. So I'll clean the rocket ship up like that. And I'll clean this out a little bit. Oops. Better way to clean that out. Clean out the rocket ship. And man, this is a pain because I can't really rotate the image in Microsoft Paint. You know, it'd be nice to have Adobe and all these nice tools, but you know, I'm not a professional illustrator. I'm really, oh, by the way, Shnoel, I'm really amazed people are doing quantum computing because I don't know anyone who's actually running a quantum computer yet. So there's probably a lot of anticipation this is going to be the future, and they're training up people in it. So if you hop onto this, that's going to be awesome if it blossoms as a technology. Someone is really having a conversation on my cell phone. It's going to be about politics and religion, I bet. Okay, so rocket ship 1. This is obnoxious. I have to keep finding the directory. Sometimes it would default to the right place. So relativity, and this is rocket ship 1. I'm going to make another one. There. This will be rocket ship. Rocket ship 2. Man, this is so obnoxious. I have to keep going back to the directory. Rocket 2. So now I can go here and I mean, it's like, why am I taking time to do this? Okay, guys, trying to understand something as complex as relativity, I found that when I do this, I actually have to do this in my head to try to conceptualize things. So what you see me doing is what I would be having to try to conceptualize even in my own head anyway. And so it's kind of nice to just lay it out so that I could actually see it in my, see it depicted the way that I see it inside my own head. Okay, so now I got my rocket ship, and let me do a file open. What diagram do I want? Now I want Alfred. My professor said that after decades of research, there are only a handful of quantum algorithms which could be better on a quantum computer than a normal one, in theory. Wow! Hang on. Rebecca's calling me. One moment. pardon the let me get Zoom going again. What happened? We have a freeze. Did Zoom... Okay, I got Zoom going again. Oh, all right. That was Rebecca desperately calling me about mathematical physics. Oh my goodness. I had to take that call. She said she's going to be talking to a mathematical physicist today at noon or so. I'm going to be talking to another mathematical physicist in Philip Dennis. So both of us today are talking to mathematical physicists. So apparently our debate has gotten some interesting attention. I mean, professional physicists watch that debate. Professional physicists, I mean, this is what I consider... This is where creationism has to go in ID to start to move the culture. Rather than being guys that are just all about theater and YouTube, we take this seriously. We approach the academics who are skilled and say, did I get this right? Did I get this wrong? Where did we disagree? How can it be improved? Because in this day and age, the data is so powerful, all you have to do is just kind of let the cards play out. Look at what James Tour did. All he does is just read the peer-reviewed literature. He has to have enough expertise to read it. Yes, that is absolutely true. But, man, my phone is just going crazy. Okay, politics and religion. I'm getting texts on politics and religion on my phone. It's like, no, usually I didn't, I didn't intend it for that. So, anyway, there are some YouTube channels, they're just argumentative channels and all about theatrics, and there's some creations that do business that way. That's ultimately not going to move the culture. What will move the culture is, first off, if the facts are on our side. If the facts are not on your side, forget it. But we have belief as creationists and ID proponents, the facts are ultimately on our side. So the first thing is God is on our side, the facts are on our side. And we just have to wait on the Lord for the facts to be presented to us. Like there's stuff we didn't know until we had Hubble Space Telescope and then the James Webb Space Telescope. So, wait on the Lord and then just be ready to receive the facts as they come in, the measurements, etc. And we'll just see where it goes. So let me say a prayer for Rebecca as she meets with this mathematical physicist. I mean, it's incredible. People were like, they watched what Rebecca did and they said, we want to put you in touch with someone. And the mathematical physicist wants to examine what she had to say. And they watched our debate. I mean, professional physicists were watching our debate and they're interested in communicating with us. Hopefully, Mr. Jetty is a professional physicist, so I'm very flattered. So, this is why this academic channel is important. It does convey to the outside world that the community we have here with graduate students and myself, people like Emery, people like Mr. Jetty, Schnoil, Ben Rex, and there are others, and then some of the professors that watch the channel. Hopefully, we've had guests like Dr. Russell Humphreys. Hopefully, Dr. Phil will be a regular feature. I'm really hoping. It's communicating to the outside world. We're very, very serious about science, extremely serious. We're not about theater and just trying to get kind of cheap conversions to our viewpoint. And I think that'll really move the argument. Look at the effect James Tour is having and Marcos Eberlin. This is the level of argument. And then, and I was remiss to say Dr. John Sanford, or Dr. Rob Stadler, Dr. Change Laura Tan, Dr. Joe DeWeese. This is where I think the action really is. And I want a piece of that action. So let me say a prayer for Rebecca. Heavenly Father, we thank you that physicists have taken notice of what we're doing. We thank you for the professional scientists that watched our debate. And hopefully Rebecca will be editing a video that kind of has our statements a little bit more polished up and just, extracted without Leo and Grayson. It's just me and her and our data and our slides. Help that to communicate to more people. And Father, please calm her nerves, give her the words to speak. Thank you that a professional physicist, mathematical physicist that is willing to interact with her and grant her an audience. May he be gentle in the way he may object to her views. May he be kind to her and not harsh. Give Rebecca the willingness to approach him humbly and say, I recognize you may not agree with me, and give her the words to just say, did I represent the papers correctly? That's about all I could do. Were the papers that were presented there, were there flaws in the methodology, or are their conclusions, respectable and require further investigation? And that's about all we can do. Give her grace and help her to build bridges, and likewise help me to build bridges as I meet with a mathematical physicist myself today. So we praise you, Lord, that Rebecca is meeting with one mathematical physicist and I'm meeting with another in short order. And I thank you for Schnoil for helping me. I thank you for Mr. Jetty for helping me. I thank you for all the students of science that are helping me through. I thank you for Emery. God bless him. And please be with Dr. Dennis today. Thank you for this. He's a gift of God for the creationist movement. We offer this prayer in Jesus' name. Amen. Glory and honor to you, Lord. Amen. So, let's get back to work. And so where was I? I wanted Alfred. I wanted Alfred. I'm going to get a picture of Alfred. So I'm going to cut out a picture of Alfred here. And Alfred. Oh, I like that. He has that gun. Yeah. Oh, the term is strobe light. It's a strobe light. I knew there was a term. It's a high intensity flash. It's not. Bondi uses the term torch. Let's use laser strobe. So let me save this. And what is it? Relativity. And this is Alfred. Okay. So Alfred. So this is Alfred the Gunner. I like that. Yes. Let me just get this guy a little higher. Okay, so that's Brian. I think I got my colors correct. I think this color of gray is a little too... Oh, it's about the best color I could get. Okay, so Alfred transmits in yellow, and that's him. Brian receives in... Brian is green, and he receives in yellow. He transmits in red. And then David receives in red and yellow. Okay. This is the person color, and this is the transmission color. Transmission. We have seen only one such algorithm, Deutsch algorithm, in the whole course. Would that be David Deutsch? Yeah, David Deutsch. In the whole course. The rest is mainly linear algebra. I enjoyed it a lot, though. Oh, wow, linear algebra, yeah. Do you do linear algebra in real numbers? Or do you do any stuff with binary linear algebra? That'd be so cool. Yes, David Deutsch. Awesome, awesome. That's really interesting. There are only a handful of quantum algorithms. There are only a handful of quantum algorithms which could be better on a quantum computer than a normal one, in theory. Oh, you do binary. Oh, okay, real numbers, linear algebra. Wow. And binary numbers, linear algebra. Wow. This is, wow. Transmission, and this is their person. Now that's a diagram. David in interval of reception. David's interval of reception. This is reception. Okay. So All right. So now let me save this. This is too powerful. I better not lose this diagram. I worked 2 hours to make this diagram. And it's kind of obnoxious to keep having to go here. Relativity. Dr. Phil, and this is 3/4/23/03/04A. Okay. So I'm going to duplicate this diagram, and we will say the ratios and so the computation is all right. David reception. Okay, Brian. If Brian flashes his torch at intervals, strobe light at intervals kh by his watch, then these flashes traveling in company with those emitted by Alfred would be seen by David at intervals h, giving the reciprocal ratio of 1/k between Brian and David. If Alfred had flashed his light at intervals h, then David would have seen the flashes in intervals h, each flash taking time to reach him. Brian would have seen them at some interval kh by his watch, so k is the ratio of the interval of reception to the interval of transmission. So it's reception over transmission. Okay, so let me get this right. Oh boy, I do not want to use latex. I do not want to use latex. Not in PowerPoint. Oh my goodness, latex is awful in PowerPoint. Maybe I shouldn't here, but... Okay, Schnoil, this is going to be scary. See, frac. Let's see if it takes it. Fraction. Yeah, this doesn't even do it as well as Word. Not that Word does it well. So this will be reception. So Brian reception over Alfred transmission. Yeah, Straw says, I think I used it once in PowerPoint and it was awful. So this would equal yes, the fun of presentation. Okay, you know, sometimes things are so bad you just can't help but laugh. Okay, so now I'm going to insert, and I want symbols, and I want equations, and I'm going to insert the fraction, and that's going to be Brian reception is 9 over Alfred transmission at 3. And if I'm going to be anal, I will colorize the I'll actually even colorize. I'll colorize the elements. Oh man. Let me make this bigger. Okay, so 3 should be gray in the background. What did it do? And this will be green in the background and yellow in the reception. Oh, this is ugly. Let me just put it in another line. Now I can make this individually bigger. Okay, and that equals 3/2 equals, oh man. You weren't kidding, Schnoil. It is awful. And this is going to be... Okay, that's my alarm. Copy. Ah! Aggravation. Oh my goodness. I can't even get this stupid thing to work. All I'm trying to do is enter the number 3/2. No. I can't even enter the number 3/2. This is crazy. So this would reduce to 3/2. And I'm going to shrink this and let me get the fonts. Is there a math font? Nope. I'll just use Calibri. And I'll make it nice. Okay, Brian and Alfred transmission. Oh boy, this is going to be painful. And then we have, it's going to be David reception and Brian transmission. So let me duplicate here. I'm going to have to remove all this just so... Oh man. So let me copy all of this. Yes, quantum measurements are yes, probabilistic. You know, there's aspects of quantum mechanics that are very kind of like not too bad, particularly like in chemistry. like the periodic table is expressed because of quantum mechanics. But then there's just stuff that's just like bizarre. Now, I thought the most interesting thing when I took quantum mechanics, we actually just derived like from Schrodinger's equations, like the orbits of atoms, which is really, the orbits of electrons. And so if anyone does chemistry, you actually can derive. So you learn in chemistry kind of the chemical laws, and you don't really know why. They'll say, okay, when we're doing the electron orbits, these are the principal quantum numbers. This is a spin quantum number. There's like, and then what was it? The angular momentum. The spin up, spin down, angular momentum. And there was one other. I'm embarrassed. I should know this. But you can actually derive it from quantum mechanics. And it was that was like 3 weeks into the, 3 weeks of just getting there to derive why chemicals interact the way that they do. And so that was actually not so bizarro. But some of the other stuff in quantum mechanics is bizarre. So this would be Bryan transmission, and David reception. So David is receiving the red signal, and wow, that's cool. Yeah, let me show you the book that did this. Since we're just kind of hanging out on a Saturday, I'll show you the book. Let me get this big. I have it here. Did I have it? No. Let me run downstairs and get my quantum mechanics book. I should move it up here to my command center office. I'll be right back. Okay, I was glad I could find this so easily. So I had to go down to my... So you could see the library there, all the way in the back. Now this is a background picture. This is a picture of my home in 2018. Doesn't look anywhere near as beautiful right now because it's under renovation. And so that's the bookshelf where I have a lot of my technical stuff. Now I'm moving it up to my command center that's on this floor. These are some of the textbooks from school. This is electrodynamics. This is quantum mechanics. And this is like the modern physics book. So what happens is let me see. So the famous equation, of course, is Schrodinger's equation for a lot of things. So we start off This is one version of Schrodinger's equation. Right there. That's Schrodinger's equation. And then, as you solve the Schrodinger's equation, we have these things called these solutions to it. Let's see. By about chapter 3, let's see where it gets Dirac notation. You have all these. Okay, the Schrodinger equation in one dimension is not too bad. You get to 3 dimensions, it gets really hairy, and you need all the math. So you start with quantum mechanics in 1 dimension, and then you go to quantum mechanics in 3 dimensions. And then it starts to get really nasty fast. And then so you have to learn all this spherical geometry. And so you have these momentum. So you have the magnetic quantum number, the azimuthal quantum number, and then so we work it through Schrodinger's equation, and you just kind of derive all the chemistry. And on the final exam, God bless my professor. He walked around to the students, and he was going to each desk, to each student, and helping them solve the problem on the final exam. That had to be the most fun final exam that I ever saw, because all the students were sweating what was going to happen on the final exam, and that the professor is going to just kill us. And he gave a challenging exam, but then he walked around to each student, and as they were struggling, he'd say, do this. This is the solution. Everyone got all the answers. All they had to do was show up and show some effort, because he'd seen our homeworks and all. And God bless him. I should pray for him more. Let me just pray for him right now. Lord Jesus, thank you for my quantum mechanics professor. Lord, he doesn't know you, and it's amazing. I thank God for this atheist who had trained me and cared for his students and was passionate for the subject. He taught me quantum mechanics and general relativity. Please be with him, Lord. Help him to know Jesus is Lord and Savior. In Jesus' name, amen. So, yeah, this is really cool that he did that, and he was helping us. He said, okay, this is the spherical harmonic solution to the 3-dimensional Schrodinger equation. And we work it through, and that's how we got the chemistry. So, yeah, that really was an awesome class. So in any case, let's get back to this here. So David is the receiver of the red signal, and his color is blue. And Brian is the transmitter. Brian's color is green. So he's green, and he's transmitting a red signal. And so the reception time is 6 minutes. 6 minutes of the red signal by blue, and 4 minutes of, and I got this wrong, this is supposed to be 6. Oops, 6. In 4 minutes, 6 minutes, and that's supposed to be 9. And that's the red signal. So these are red signals. And he's supposed to be colored green. happened to my coloring? I want green. There. And so this should be blue. And a red signal. And Schnoor said, this reminds me of my own professor who gave us a really easy exam. Another reason as to why I enjoyed the course a lot. Yes. You know, it's a tough call when you're going to make the course hard or easy. So sometimes, like if you have a foundational course that you really have to have mastery of the of what's there in order to succeed in other courses, you have to sort of be hard on the students. But some of these courses you may take that may not have any application, you know, there's no reason to actually kill the students. It's just be grateful that they can learn, and they may never ever use it professionally or even use it in another course. There's no reason to kill them. So I had the same professor amazingly for 4 classes: astrophysics, cosmology, general relativity, and quantum mechanics. General relativity, he was hard on us. Quantum mechanics, he was hard but not too hard. Cosmology was relatively easy, and so was astrophysics. Because, you know, everyone teaches astrophysics differently. Because the professors before him were doing astrophysics almost exclusively about the sun, which is still astrophysics, because you can understand a lot about stars by studying the sun. But, you know, they probably didn't cover supernova and all. So it's like, well, what are you going to do? You know, it may not be foundational for anything else that you ever do. But mathematical physics, oh my goodness. That's like you're not going to be able to do physics unless you have background in mathematical physics. That was the second hardest course. The hardest course I ever had was classical mechanics. Oh my goodness. I'm still traumatized. That was so hard. I thought, this is Newtonian, this should be easy, right? No, it was brutal. Oh my goodness, that was agony. I'm still traumatized by it. So I'm really glad when, you know, you could actually see the style of the professor depending on the content and how important it was to understand something else. So if I were teaching, I'd have to be kind of a little strict and really have to push the students for mathematical physics, and really also for classical mechanics. But for courses like, you know, cosmology, just kind of let them enjoy, you know. And especially if I were teaching cosmology, I'd teach the Big Bang and say, you know, don't take it seriously because it's wrong anyway. I know if I were teaching evolutionary biology, I'd be really easy on the students. I said, say whatever you want. Do you think the professionals are about truth anyway? So whatever you say on the exam goes, because it's not going to be any worse than what's actually in peer-reviewed literature. I think I'd love to teach evolutionary biology. I said, okay, I just want you to know kind of like the fundamental definitions and all, but just BS whatever you want on you know, the final exam. You want to come up with some crazy phylogeny? Hey, I just say, I think that's worthy of a peer-reviewed article. Wouldn't that be so cool? I would love to teach evolutionary biology, and it would be a comedy session. You know, I wouldn't know whether it's going to be, it would be evolutionary biology comedy class. I know that sounds so mean. How about a college course on abiogenesis? There should be a college course on abiogenesis, and the textbook will be Dr. Tour's Crushing of Dave Farina. That would be just glorious. Wouldn't that be a great college class? That would be glorious. This would be a class on the history of science and current controversies. Put it in the religion department, cross-discipline between science and religion. That would be so fun. That wouldn't fly in liberal secular schools, but that would be a great class. Okay, back to business here. So I need to color code this. Brian's reception is in green. So I pick that color, and I pick yellow for that. And Alfred's transmission, he'll be gray. And his transmitted signal is in yellow. Oh man. Yellow. Okay, so now I got the color coding right. I need to make this a darker shade of gray. One moment. A little darker. Little darker. Little darker. Okay. Now we got a good diagram. Yeah, I should make this dark. Man, that's what's obnoxious, is when you change in one, you have to change them in all the others. Little darker, little darker, little darker. Okay, so we have this, 3/2. This is a reciprocal relationship between 3/2 and 2/3. I still remember the good old top of the mount stupid video by Dr. Tori. This made me laugh more than it should. It still does. That was so mean. Just put him on the top of the Dunning-Kruger syndrome. That was so funny. And that was good. Okay, so now I'm going to highlight the reciprocal relationship here. All right, we got to laugh doing a nerd torture session, because otherwise this is going to be agony. So I'm going to change the shape outline to red, and the fill to no fill, and I'll increase the weighting to 3. And now I'll duplicate this. Hey, oh, by the way, Schnoil, congratulations on completing your exams. Well done, sir. Well done. Congratulations on getting through grad school. And to be honest, I know you worked hard, because they don't really work the students that hard here in the United States. Except the only reason it becomes a little hard in the United States is we have students from other countries and they work hard. So the graduate student, this is the sad irony in the United States. Our elementary schools are just poisoned, and now so are the undergrad. The U.S. used to have the best grad schools in the world because they imported all the great students and also the great scientists. They wanted to come to the USA, but that's kind of being eroded now because of all the woke academia. It's just sad. You know, the educational institution in the United States has become just very predatory. There is still one exam left in a week for me for the semester. Let's say a prayer for you, Schnoil. Lord Jesus, please help Schnoil as he prepares for this exam. Help him to do well and excellently, Lord, and may the professors give him good grades. In Jesus' name, amen. You know, if I were a professor in school, for certain classes, I'd say have fun. But for serious classes, I'd have to say, gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen, this is going to be hard. I want you to know I am praying for each and every student because you're going to need my prayers to get through this class. You're going to need some prayer to get through. For most of you, you'll need some prayers to get through this class. That sounds just, what a way to scare the students. You know, I just tell them, look, I'm on your side, guys, but this is not going to be a cakewalk. I'm on your side. This is an essential class. If it were an inessential class, I'd be a lot easier on you, but this is serious. You're going to need it in so many areas. I will not serve you well if I go easy on you. And just kind of, let them know I'm on your side. If you think I'm harsh, you will appreciate that I held you to high standards when you take other classes that will leverage this. So that's what I'd say. I don't want to make stuff kind of gratuitously hard. So what class would that be that would be hard? I would say I'd have to be a little harder on the general chemistry students if are teaching general chemistry. You got to get that right. And also like the basics of physics. I mean, really basics of physics. Like first or second semester, you got to get that right. Same for calculus. Definitely for algebra. And what's kind of sad is you get a lot of the people from other disciplines having to come to these fundamental classes, and they're never going to use it again. So, yeah, I think students, it's good that I think they have classes in math that are for non science majors, just to give them some exposure to math, help, like business calculus or business type algebra. So, okay, so we relate this is a reciprocal relationship, and I'll just use the word reciprocal. Reciprocal relationship, and I'll make that in red. And I'll make the background white. Oh goodness, it's supposed to give me a white background, doggone it. Nah. Shape fill, white. There, better. Reciprocal relationship. Okay, so there's a reciprocal relationship. So now, Snow says our education system goes downhill as well. Don't worry. We lack teachers and we learn a lot less than people used to 10 years ago in school. Yeah, that's really sad. I'll tell you why. Education is the mission of education was originally to teach people. Now it's to make money for the institutions. And we're like, oh gee, if we make it easy for students to get there, they'll just have a good time. They'll pay a lot of money and get the prestige, and make it really easy, the entrance requirements to schools easier, and we'll just keep them there forever. I'm sorry to be cynical, but that's why we have stupid curriculums in postmodernism and intersectional studies. Queer dance theory, there is one terrible major. I mean, There was a PhD dissertation, Melissa Click, here in the United States. She was notorious because she got involved in kind of the woke stuff on campus. Her dissertation was on the whiteness of Martha Stewart. The whiteness of Martha Stewart. That was a PhD dissertation. Anyway, so let's get back to this. And Dr. Dennis will be seeing me soon, Dr. Phil. Now let me get my Bondi back out. Note that the principle of relativity, by insisting the equivalence of all inertial observers, makes it quite clear that the ratio must be the same whichever of a pair of inertial observers does the transmitting. Yeah, compare that to a PhD in natural sciences. You know, I should read Melissa Click's PhD just for fun and compare it to what we're doing here on the academic channel. You'll see why this culture in the United States is rotting. We're pursuing garbage stuff and it's affecting our culture. Like Melissa Click is really into intersectionality, just garbage reasoning. I have to have a show on that, some of the stuff that's in peer review. There's a Twitter thing called like Real Peer Review. It's hilarious. It highlights peer-reviewed papers that academics don't want published because they're so bad. I'm not kidding you. I'll have to read them on this channel. Okay, so if I change the transmitter and reception, that's the one that's going to be interesting. See if I could pull this off. So on page 80 it says, the principle of relativity, by insisting on the equivalence of all inertial observers, makes it quite clear that the ratio must be the same whichever of a pair of inertial observers does the transmitting. So now let me switch then and make Brian the transmitter. Okay, so I'll make Alfred the receiver. Alfred will be the reception. Brian will be the transmitter. So Brian will transmit. Brian is the transmission and Alfred reception. Brian transmits in the red and his color is green, and Alfred is gray and he's going to receive the red transmission. Let me just try this. This is dangerous. Okay. Alfred's interval of reception is going to be, doggone it, I should know this. If Brian is moving in his spaceship, his transmission rate is 9. So that would be, I'm going to turn it to the red color and the green. And Alfred's reception rate is going to be 9. His transmission rate is 6. Brian's transmission rate is 6, and Alfred's reception rate is 9. And that's also 3/2. And it should be red. I'll make that red. because it's processing the red signal and the gray. And this is kind of the Minkowski. This is a preparation for the Minkowski invariance, I think. We'll see. And so this is 3, 9, and this has to be green. So Alfred's reception, and that has to be in gray. Let me make that gray. So Alfred is receiving it at 9-minute intervals in Alfred's clock rate. Brian's interval of transmission is 6 minutes in Alfred's clock rate. Is 6 minutes in Alfred's clock rate. So I'm not applying a Lorentz transformation to their clock rates yet. Oh boy. I'm starting to sense this is going right. So Alfred is receiving it every 9 minutes. Brian in his clock is firing off every 6 minutes. Okay, David's interval of reception is 6 minutes and Alfred's in. Okay, so there is David's interval of reception. He's only let me go read this again. Page 80. By insisting on the equivalence of all inertial observers, makes it quite clear that the ratio must be the same whichever pair of inertial observers does the transmitting. So if David is transmitting, David's interval of transmission is 6 minutes in Alfred's clock rate. David's interval of reception is 4 minutes. So he's transmitting. What will we make David's transmission color? I'm going to assign a transmission color to David, and it will be this is where it gets a little funny. All right. I'm running out of colors here, guy. Orange, blue, green. How about purple? We'll go with purple. And no outline. Okay, so this is where I don't know. It's going to get a little funny. David's interval of transmission is 6 minutes in Alfred's clock rate. And we're going to purple it. David's interval of reception of the red signal is every 4 minutes. Is that right? This is Brian's clock rate. Hang on. In Brian's clock rate, I think it's Brian's. See, this is where so in Brian's clock rate, he's firing off every 6 minutes. So if Brian is firing off every 6 minutes, see, this is what I don't know. And if Brian is firing off in every 6 minutes, let's go back to Alfred. This is where I'm confused. Alfred's. Is this Alfred's? Alfred's. I'll go back to Alfred's clock rate. I'm not using the Lorentz transformation yet. Try to keep it simple. So at Alfred's clock rate, we're going to have Brian transmit every 9 minutes. He's going to decide, I'm going to transmit every 9 minutes, and he's moving away. If he's transmitting every 9 minutes, and it takes if he's transmitting every 9 minutes, I don't get it. Alfred will be receiving I don't get this. Let's see. This is a little funny. Okay, so who does the transmission and reception? So if Brian is doing this every 6 minutes, okay, let's assume Brian is transmitting every 6 minutes. Let's see where it said this. Correspondingly, had Brian flash his light every 6 minutes, the flashes would have arrived at David's every 4 minutes. Brian is traveling at the same speed and he is receding from Alfred, but now it is a velocity of approach, and the flashes arrived every 9 minutes or received every 6 minutes, page 79, reduced by a factor of 2/3. Correspondingly, had Brian flashed his light every 6 minutes, the flashes would have arrived at David at 4-minute intervals. Thus, instead, the velocity of recession of one approach is considered the factor of 3/2 between the interval of transmission and interval of reception is changed to a factor of 2/3. Our results are quite independent of whether any of these inertial observers can be regarded as rest. Indeed, the question of which of them is at rest does not make any sense. The only relevant matter is their relative velocity. Okay, so Alfred is going to transmit every 6 minutes. So this is the page. This is the page 79 scenario. Let me do this. Diagram first off will be wrongly labeled. So this will be 6 minutes, and maybe I should put a little text box here. This is going to be 6. Yes, absolutely. I recently came across a paper by Dirac. Thank you. Oh man, just had my alarm clock. I'm gonna have to see Dr. Dennis in half an hour. So that should be 6. And this will be, I'm gonna copy that. So this will be 6 minutes here, and we'll paste. This is just to help me. Yes, Dirac believed in an ether. Lorentz believed in an ether. The Lorentz transformation is ether-based, and there was, I think, Bohr may have, and I think the quantum mechanical community is going to drive it to be that way. Because if we have absolute time, then relativity, you don't have different flows of time, you just have different clock rates, which makes a lot more sense. You can have different clock rates with the same absolute time. So just like my clock, when the battery runs low, it starts to tick slower. So we might then postulate that the effects that are there are actually affecting the way the atomic or whatever processes happen. They just slow down, but there is an absolute clock. And this is what all this, this is what I'm trying to deal with here. I'm going to try to bring it before Professor Dennis. So this, I'm going to change some of this here. Copy. Didn't want to do that. Get that out. So copy. Copy and paste. Copy and paste. And I put the wrong number. This is going to be then 9. And thank you for finding that paper. Thank you, Schnoil. Thank you so much. Okay, so we have 9 minutes, 6 minutes here. I'll delete that. And 6 minutes, if I transmit every 6 minutes, because he's approaching fast, it's supposed to be 4 minutes. Okay, so it will be, he will get, David's receiving it every 4 minutes, and Brian's transmitting every 6 minutes, and this is 2/3. And this should be changed then to copy. All right, so this will be colored blue. Like that, nice happy color, and this will be yeah, I'll leave it in black. Copy. And I think I got this. So this will be 4 and 4 and 4. Okay, so now that changes and we get the 2/3. Brian's interval of transmission is 9 minutes and Alfred's clock rate. Brian's interval of reception is 9 minutes. It is Alfred's interval of transmission, so he's no longer transmitting. Oops, let me do that. Alfred's interval of reception is 9 minutes in Alfred's clock rate. Brian's interval of transmission is 6 minutes. 6 minutes. Is 4 minutes in Alfred's clock rate. And David's interval of reception, yeah, he's only receiving one signal here. Okay. David's reception of the red signal okay. However, and I'm going to throw my new wrinkle in here. Brian is not receiving a signal. This is Alfred. Alfred reception, Brian transmission. Oh darn. Okay. I colored the wrong diagram, darn it. That's right. I have to get the numbers. So this goes. I have to cut that. there. Let me save this before I totally mess it up. And I'm going to delete this. I messed that up. Let me get this and put it here quickly. And paste. 6-minute transmission. I could make these all red. I mean, that's kind of anal, but oh well. We'll make it red because that's indicating the signal I'm sending out. It'll be the red strobe light. Red, red, and red. And so then I could delete this and I'm going to make this red. Then I'm going to cut this, cut. This is why this is such a pain, but I can see things so clearly this way. It is just so beautifully clear. And it's, see, this is only 3 pages of text, but to really grasp what the arguments are. Okay. Now I have just a little time to apply the Lorentz transformation to now just say Dr. Phil, but Dr. Phil, but the actual clock rates between the rocket and Alfred strobe, and Alfred's clock, assuming the rocket accelerated. Okay. Presumably, I assume the reciprocal relationships will still hold. Okay. So we have a Lorentz. All right, here's the time dilation. Okay, time dilation. I'm just going to cut and paste this from Wikipedia, and then I have to get to my meeting with Dr. Dennis, Dr. Phil. Delta T So I'm just going to cut and paste this baby in here. Ugh, don't like that. Stop. This device. And Dr. Phil. So let's see. Oh, now I have to do this blasted equation. Okay, so v squared is 2/3 2c delta t. T is going to get slower, so if we're in the rocket ship, so 3 minutes, 6 minutes for delta t prime over delta t equals 3/2. I think that's 3/2. Backslash. Okay, so symbols. Come on, I want Greek, baby. Where's the Greek? This is obnoxious. I have all these symbols that I absolutely don't need, and they ought to put the Greek like really up there. Delta. So I have delta t prime over delta t okay, delta t prime. Get this thing here. Okay, insert symbol. And then it'll give me the recently used. Insert T equals, now equation that would be 3/2, and that equals let me make this bigger. And I'll do Mr. Equation again. Insert symbol equation. One over, and I need a square root. Where's my blasted square root of 1 minus this is v squared over c Oops. C squared. So now, and I will do a curve fit. I have 10 minutes before I see Dr. Phil. So I have to do this. 2/3. No, wait, V squared. V squared. Okay, so we have equal 1. Okay, V squared. 1, C squared. So just make that 1, V squared. Okay, so we have equal 1 divided by the square root of 1 minus V squared over 1. And I got it. Okay, so let's say 0.8. 0.8. And so as I apply the Lorentz transformation, and so 1 V is then going to be approximately, can I not get an equal symbol? Come on, man, this is aggravating. It's approximately 0.74538 C. And let me just get that bigger. And all right. So I'm ready for I think I will at least avail myself of at least showing some effort to try to understand so okay, so I'll save this. I had to do some quick calculations to use the Lorentz transformation and I had to do a numerical fit, and I'm running out of time. I have to prepare for my next meeting. God bless you all. Thank you so very much for all of you who joined me in this discussion. It was just fabulous. So now I'm gonna just I'm gonna close out with some Patrick Glynn, conducting the orchestra, and the singers, Rebecca Luker. All the things you are. Actually, yeah, let's... Yeah. God bless everyone. Glory and honor to our Lord and Savior. May all grace to all those who love Jesus Christ. Amen.
Could only find a voice.